Assalamualaikum and hi. So we are in second semester and this is our first chapter, chapter 1, electrostatic. So there are 4 subtopics in this chapter. However, in this video, we are only going to look at 1.1 Coulomb's law. Before we look at Coulomb's law, let us first understand what does the term electrostatic means. Electrostatic means that electric charge at rest. And we know electric charge, there are 2 types. One is a positive charge and another one is a negative charge. When we place 2 different charge next to each other, we know that they are going to attract each other and move towards each other. And then if you were to place same charges next to each other, what is going to happen is they are going to repel each other and move away from each other. Okay, the process of that attraction and repulsion is basically an electrostatic force. Okay, so we are going to use this basic understanding in order to go deeper in our chapter 1 electrostatic. So our first subtopic 1.1 here has 3 learning objectives. The first one is to state Coulomb's law. Second one is to sketch electric force diagram and to apply Coulomb's law for a system of point charges. Okay, we are going to look at what is Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law states that the magnitude of the electrostatic or electric force between 2 point charges is proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square distance between them. So let's say we have these 2 charges here, a positive and a negative charge here. So as we know that these positive and negative charge are going to attract towards each other, that attraction is a force. We call it as attractive force. So this force, the attraction force between these 2 charges is given as a symbol of F here. Force is actually proportional to the product of the charges Q1, Q2 and inversely proportional to the distance between them. Inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So basically whatever this whole sentence here means is this proportionality where the magnitude of the force is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so this proportionality, which comes from Coulomb's law, can be written as an equation such as F is equals to KQQ over R square. Alright, it doesn't matter you want to use a capital Q and small q or Q subscript 1, Q subscript 2. Whatever we are trying to do here is to just to emphasize that we are going to have 2 charges. Okay, these 2 charges have their respective values. Okay, so tak kisahlah nak guna Q besar, Q kecil ke atau Q1, Q2 ke. It's just that kita nak distinguish between these charges sahaja. Alright, so this proportionality has been changed into equation by having a constant here, K. K is an electrostatic constant given below here with a value of 9 times 10 to the power 9 Newton per Coulomb square meter square. Alright, so K here is basically 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space, which has a value of 8.85 exponent negative 12. So if you press calculator, you will get 9 times 10 to the power 9, which is the constant for our K. Okay, so F is the symbol we use for electrostatic force. Q here, kalau tengok, dia cakap magnitude of the charge. Okay, this is something that you have to pay attention. Whenever you want to find the value of the force, kalau kita tengok dalam Coulomb's law, dia mention that magnitude of the electrostatic force. So based on this proportionality, equation yang kita dapat ini hanya akan bagi nilai force sahaja, magnitude of the electrostatic force. Okay, so whatever you're going to get from this equation is only the value of the force. So for that, when you want to substitute the value of the charges, you must only substitute the magnitude, iaitu value sahaja. Okay, the characteristic of the charge such as positive atau negative kita neglect. We neglect the characteristic of the charges. For example, you have charge Q1 bersamaan dengan positive 5 microcoulomb and Q2 negative 2 microcoulomb, let's say. So to find the electrostatic force, what you do is you only substitute the magnitude of the charges. Magnitude of the charges adalah dekat sini 5 micron, neglect the positive sign, and also 2 micron, neglect the negative sign, divided with the distance between them lah kan. So whatever the distance is, divide that square dekat situ. Alright, so remember to cari F, Q ini kena masukkan magnitude sahaja, neglect the sign of the charge. Alright, as we know, force here is a vector quantity and it has a unit of Newton. So unit untuk force adalah Newton, sama macam chapter 4 you studied. Alright. So since it is a vector quantity, it must have magnitude and also direction. Kena ada magnitude and direction. As from this equation, we managed to get the magnitude of the electrostatic force. Macam mana nak tentukan direction? Okay, to tentukan direction, you must be able to sketch that electric force diagram. So, look at the charges that you have here. Let's say you have charge Q1, positive charge, placed next to Q2, which is also a positive charge. Dan kita tahu, when you place two same charges next to each other, they are going to repel each other and move away from each other. Mereka akan bergerak menjauhi. Okay, they're going to move away from each other. So your Q1 is going to move to the left because you have Q2 on the right. So dia nak menjauhi daripada Q2. Same goes to your Q2. It's going to move to the right as it is going to drift away from Q1 here. Okay. Every time you want to find force, kita akan ada subject kita. You are finding force on who? Pada siapa? So when you have two charges here, you have to identify siapa subject kita. So dalam soalan dia akan emphasize on find the blah 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 acting on Q1 ataupun dia akan cakap on Q2. So on siapa? Itu adalah kita punya keyword untuk menentukan subjek. Dia kata pada siapa, exerted on siapa. So let's say dia kata find force on Q1 due to Q2. Maksudnya whatever force that you're going to experience on Q1, so ini subjek kita, disebabkan oleh wujudnya Q2 di sebelah kanan ini. So subjek kita dekat sini adalah Q1. So this is our subject. So we are going to focus on dia sahaja. Okay, dia adalah macam kita buat free body diagram dalam chapter 4 semester lepas. Kita ada object and you only draw the free body diagram, the forces acting on that object sahaja. Betul tak? Begitu juga dekat sini. So you only focus on the forces acting on kita punya subject sekarang. Siapa subject kita? Iaitu Q1. Okay, so your Q1 here is going to move to the left due to the presence of a positive charge on the right. So, direction dia dekat sini adalah to the left. Ini adalah direction dia. So, what you have to do is you use the equation above. F is equals to K. Masukkan magnitude Q1, magnitude Q2. Bahagi dengan R square, you're going to get the value. So, you press calculator, you're going to get the value that this force is experiencing. And then direction dia tulis to the left. Begitu juga if you were to place a positive and negative charge next to each other, it doesn't matter apa sign pun, yang penting kita tengok either dia nak attract ataupun repel. Kita identify macam biasa, basic knowledge. So you know now they are going to attract each other, so they are going to move towards each other. So let's say subject kita sekarang adalah Q2. So based on this, as Q2 is a negative charge, it will be attracted to the positive charge placed on the left. So, dia akan move closer atau towards the Q1. So, kita punya direction of Q2 adalah to the left dekat sini. Kalau lah Q1 subject pun tak ada masalah. Move to the right. Okay, cari nilai guna equation dekat atas. And then, tentukan dia punya direction by identifying dia punya arah pergerakan. Either dia move towards ataupun away from the another charge. Okay, this is an important thing here. The sign of the charge can be ignored when substituting into Coulomb's law equation. So, bila kita nak guna equation ini, KQQ over R square, tempat Q ni, kita neglect the sign of the charge. However, the sign of the charge is important to determine the direction of the electrostatic force. Kita guna sign untuk tentukan arah kamu punya forces ini. Alright, that's it.